Go again. Hi everyone, I invited you to meet one of the leaders of the future because many of you don't really know what is that kind of leadership program you're doing and who are the people who attend and who are the leaders of the future. Why are they so different from the leaders of the past? And I thought it's better to meet one than I tell you who they are. So here I invited Diane so that you could meet one of the particular leaders of the future. And I am just looking at the video. I'm hoping it's working anyway, otherwise please complain. So as an introduction, I will tell you that what I find fascinating about the leaders of the future is that they're very, very different from the leaders of the past. So the leaders of the past were typically men, and they were typically corporate, and they were typically or politicians, or they could also be founders of big companies. But the leaders of the future, they are different because they could come from anywhere, and they could be of any gender, and they can have purposes that are very, very different from the leaders of the past. So Diane, why don't you start by telling how did you come into my life? Where did you come from? Where were you at? Where were you at the starting point?
Well, first I would like to tell a bit more about the future leadership, because that's from within, it's something that we can connect to and start living from or living as. And I've been working with healing since the age of my early 20s, and when I was 5 years old, I started feeling the pains of others and seeing how I could redeem them or soften them by being present with them. And when I came into Kirsten's life, that was because I've had it was like a breakdown, but it was also because my entire system needed deeper rest. So I had a lot of months where I couldn't get out of bed, and I just really needed to take care of my system and rest into life, getting carried instead of being the one carrying everything and thinking that the world was on my shoulders. So I had like months where I just laid in bed, and when I got up too fast, like when I got up from my head, and not because my body wanted to move out from my bed, I had severe anxiety, or like just pulsation that was so fast. And then I knew, okay, I'm getting up from my head, not from my body, so it reacts. And after that, I saw that I've never trained my ability to receive. I thought that I came here to give, but I forgot that the unconditional love intelligence that we are, it strengthens by unconditional giving and receiving. So at this point, I was like, okay, there is something about the ability to receive that just, it's such a big, like, in my system. And luckily enough, a few years back, I had a clinic, and one of my friends, she put in Kirsten's card into my wishing box, and I had no idea what the Kirsten did or anything. But when I closed down my clinic, because of the condition I was in, I had to close up my space in Christianshavn. I found that box again, and I saw Kirsten's card. And Kirsten's card was like, oh! It's like really, really insisting on me looking at it. And like looking at the letters, Illuminary Leadership, Kirsten's, and it's like really, really strong spirited. So after some time, I was like, okay, so let me check it out. And because I was in such a deep state, everything was like kind of still fighting and struggling. But at some point, I managed to actually get an appointment with Kirsten. and tell a bit about my work. And she spoke into this part of allowing to be held and supported to receive. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta do this. Also because I knew that for my container to receive support and receive backup, I needed to get that rebooted after such a big release in my system, to be able to create from a balanced place. So that's how I started.
Mm-hmm. And that's such an interesting point to point out, that not only does a new leadership come from the bottom up, it comes from everywhere. It comes from places you would never have thought, but it also comes from the inside out. And that's a very big characteristic. So most of the people who come to, who feel called to lead the future have an inner urge. There's something that wants to happen, because that's also what was, I heard and saw in you, is that you had an inner urge to work on a different level and think bigger. And often we need support for that, because if we come from one level and we can just feel that if we want to help create a new future, a new earth, if you want to lead on a different level, we need to make a jump, a big shift. And so how do we make that shift? So there's an inner urge, and we come from, we come from the earth, we rise up, but how do we make that shift, that quantum leap to a different stage? And I think you're also an example of that, because you had this feeling that not only are you an extraordinary healer, and I really, really know you have helped countless people. So no doubt about your talent, but you did not want to use your talent in the way you had been using it. You could really feel that there's a different level for me. I need to work on a different scale, right?
Yeah, and actually the quantum leap was a lean in. It was like a quantum lean. It was a quantum trust in knowing that when I release all of the programs or all of the ways that I thought that I should do things, when I truly lean in, I will get carried to my next destination. And that was what I felt could actually happen with getting into the container that Kirsten has. It's like, this is like I get like carried into the next stage, where I will then create my life from and my work from. And also that I know that I'm super sufficient. So as soon as I allow myself to receive enough support, then I'm kind of already there. But to go into it, to the program was so crucial, because of all of the trials we will go through when we are making a shift. Because it's not like, okay, I'm taking this shift and then the shift has happened. For that to really alchemize, to be truly embodied, we will go through all of our shadows, all of our inner sabotages, and all of our like, I don't want to get in anyway, or like, I can't do this. Like all of those voices, they will amplify due to that major shift. And that's why it's important to have someone that you can look into the eyes, like, oh my God, I'm crying and screaming today. Or someone can say, knock on the door and say, are you okay? You're quite quiet. It's like, yeah, it's because I'm good. Okay. You're quiet. Are you good? No, it's because I'm suffering. So we have someone that can continuously have a thread in us. And for us to get to know all of those shadows as voices from the past, getting into the now, to support the alchemization of the future being created from the inside out. So that has been invaluable for the journey and for what I have created with as being a part of the Future Leadership Program.
Yeah, because what I'm so passionate about is that the leaders of the future stop playing small, because then it's going to be too slow. This evolution has its own timing, but I feel that as midwives of the future and midwives of the new earth, as many of us are, yourself included, it's too slow if we just if we just allow everybody to be on their own, okay, you do your thing, I do my thing, everybody does their thing. That's the old paradigm of separation, where we operate as independent cells, but we are all cells in the same humanity body. So if we stick together and start helping each other, it will go so much faster.
Exactly.
Yeah. So so that's why we can help each other on different level and make these alliances where we exchange energy and where we make it go much faster. And sometimes one is a midwife and the other is a receiver, and the other way around. So, but the clue is to stick together. But many people have a very big problem getting help. So thank God as you allowed yourself to get help. And I remember in the first 3 months, one of my main pieces of coaching was, Diane, you are here to receive, because Diane was so used to giving everywhere she went, because she's such a catalyst for change. So she was used to like helping here and there. It's like, no, you're here to receive. Remember that? And suddenly you got it. And it was like, it clicked for you. Oh, really? Receive.
But actually because of the repetition, you know, like someone repeating, you are, and even clapping, you are here to receive. She would say to me, you are here to receive. It's like, oh, I am here to, what does that even mean? So like a big aha from the body happened through that.
I think we should just make a little comma here, because many women, the feminine is actually about receiving and the masculine is about giving. The feminine and masculine in all of us, the yin and the yang energy, right? The yang is like outward going, and the yin energy is inward going. So throughout the last many years, hundreds of years, thousands of years, women have been used to actually giving, nurturing, giving. So in the new feminine, we also need to focus on allowing and receiving and making that cycle more complete. And I think that's a job for all of us. And I think we did a big job on the part of the collective with that, because it's an issue for many women, especially female leaders, that they give and serve everybody else but themselves. And at the end, they're exhausted and burn out. That's why we see the great resignation. That's why we see corporate exodus of female leaders, because they are done with giving all the time. It's not possible.
And it's no one's fault. It's actually how we've been treating our planet as well, because we've just been harvesting her resources without not thinking about that this is also a living organism that we need to, she's unconditional supporting, but until the limit of her own extension. And then she goes in like protecting her resources, you know. And I think that we will need that in ourselves to then allow the aspect of unconditional receiving, and really lean into that and attract from that, and attract from what is effortlessly our nature, but we haven't been trained in it for for decades and decades. So so it is really time to allow and to receive, because the way we have been treating ourselves has really pushed to our feeling of unworthiness. And that is a big trauma. So as soon as we allow ourselves to go into containers where we are allowed to receive, and we are allowed to express, and we are allowed to evolve, we are also healing the trauma of unworthiness and feeling the unworthy. That was the hardest part, feeling that I was crying myself into feeling worthy of receiving, and not feeling that I fit in, like I fit into a bright future, I fit into a loving home, I fit into loving relationships with people, because I'm getting in relation with myself in a new way. And I am allowing the support to like click, 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 make things harmonize in a new way.
Yeah, and I think you touched a very interesting point there, because many people don't allow themselves to step into a program like this. You do programs yourself now, so and so you know how it is. How many people actually would like to do to step into a nurturing, supporting, loving, uplifting leadership program, but they hold themselves back because, and often it's because of financial issues. And I think you're such a role model when it comes to that. And you have a very interesting experience that I really would like to share with all of you, because I really find that we can achieve so much more with so much less if we allow ourselves. And I think it would be interesting if you tell the story of the financial situation with, because you were very reluctant also for good reasons.
Yeah, because I couldn't work, and I had a clinic that, like, at Christianshavn in Copenhagen, was quite expensive. And we have just moved into a house where I had to pay half of, like, every monthly expenses. I ran and ran and ran, like, the first, I could pay my bills, and then I had to run again. And that totally exhausted my system. I'm not made for that kind of work at all. And I had 2 small children at that time, 3 and 4 years old. And I also wanted to get them from kindergarten quite early. And, you know, I tried, but it was from such a place of, like, just running out of resources, really. And then I ran out of resources, energetically, financially, everything. And I couldn't even pay my bills. So I had to lend money from my sister to, like, even pay the bills for our home. And I built a
Debt
to udlejer, landlords of my clinic, my healing space. And then I saw, okay, the only thing that I could feel a connection to that could actually make a shift was the program that I saw with Kirsten. And if I haven't been in such a depth, and depth in all kinds of areas, I don't think that I've actually I could take the jump, because I knew that when life takes you into such depth, it's because something else wanted to be created in another frequency. It's like an end of an era in yourself. You're just experiencing the evolution that's going on your inner level to then be able to support it in others. So I knew that to get up from that and not, like, be the cranky one saying, oh, down with you, and why you, nah, 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 to all of the purity and life expressions and, like, thrivingness that was out there, I needed to invest. Like, this is a crisis. What do you do in a crisis? You don't lock yourself up and down and wait until it's over, because it won't be over. You decide when you will catch that line of light and life, and then move through all of the layers. So I took it from this very depth. I was like, okay, now I'm, like, investing these. How much is the program, the leadership?
I think in euros it's about 12,000 euros, isn't it? Something like that. So it's quite a bit. It's quite you have to want it. And you have to step up to do it, because the whole idea is to step up in every way.
Yeah, and you have to want the evolution of thriving to you to be strong. You have to want that, and then connect to the ability to then connect to it. And I know that when we do massive investments, like when I think about what we pay in our house rent, our home, like our body is our home, and our ability to fill our body out with, or to allow our spirit and soul and our body to truly dance together and, like, do this brilliant work of evolution. Well, why is it then so stupid or so to invest in that? Isn't it just because it's different? So for me, when I know, okay, I'm actually almost investing as much in my ability to thrive as I'm investing in my ability to have a home, that seems quite right. And when I changed my mindset about it, it was much easier. Not the first 3 months, because I was still, like, allowing to receive. I was like,
Receive.
Yeah. But it alchemized, and it changed. And then I felt like I got up on the horse and started actually using the program to also, when doing that, build what I knew that I needed support for to build, which was School of Cosmic Alliance, because that was actually, I had a vision, or I had this, okay, this is coming, but for it to be birthed right, like with all of its potential, to get into a container and receive the support, that was crucial. Yeah. And to get the guidance and the structure from someone who have been doing this for a much longer time than I have, and having that expertise and life experience, that was so important for the whole program to actually get executed and become a success. Yeah.
I said to Diane when she started, I say that to everybody, especially the entrepreneurs who start. I always urge people to get their money's worth. I always urge them to make this a program. You invest, 12,000 euros is a lot of money, and some of my programs are even more expensive. But get your money's worth. Get twice back or 10 times back. And I said to you, you can get 10 times back, and I think you did actually. Close to.
Maybe I haven't counted.
but
it doesn't feel as an expense.
No,
I think that's the important.
That's the important
thing,
stuff.
Yeah.
But if you use the program, if you use the support, if you use the techniques and the experience and the ideas and the nurturing that you get, you can actually make that turn around. If you're ready to do it, and if you enter the program at a time where I'm ready to rock now. I'm because it's also very important. If you enter it too early, that's why I select people, and I think you do that at your School of Cosmic Alliance as well. It's always, I never just admit everybody, because you have to be at that timing where you're mature to, okay, now I'm ready to go. But if you use it, you can get your money's back many, many, many times, because you will get on a new level. And that's the whole point with the new leadership, is that we cannot solve the problems that we have with the same level of thinking and being and acting and thinking and feeling that created them. So we need to make a gigantic shift, but it's not something mysterious or something that we don't all have access to. We all have access to it, but we have to give it time to birth and evolve in us. We have to give it
give it attention.
Yeah, give it attention. Choose it, want it, invest in it. Really tell ourselves that we really mean it. We have to tell the universe, we really mean it this time. It's not for the fun of it. It's not, well, maybe. So a lot of people hesitate to give themselves this evolutionary boost. But once you do, it's been so beautiful for me to watch or to witness what happened with you, because it was like, it's like a growth house. You have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful exotic plant entering, and it's just like, okay, you have to give them the perfect growth condition. And really watch, okay, she needs a little bit of water now, a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of, now, okay, don't touch her. And so at a certain point, it's like there comes a tipping point where, okay, now she starts taking on herself, and now that vision, I push a little bit, and the vision is calling, and okay, now the vision is starting, and then phew, something suddenly happens. It's been really, really beautiful to watch. And now you are helping so many people unfold their essence and really becoming also in their way leaders of a new earth. So I find it's the most beautiful work that we can do, and when we exchange, and so many people can flourish from taking these inner processes seriously. But they do need time, and that's also why my program is 9 months long, and I think yours is too, right? Because it does not happen overnight, and that's also why the midwife.
Not for it too long. It has to last. We need time for everything to get ripe.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting if you could talk about that, because many leadership programs are like 5 days. You go on a retreat for 5 days, and then you're supposedly done. Or you take 3 weekend courses, or it's very intense. And it's because leaders don't have time and they don't invest the time. But I don't agree with that. I think evolution is much faster today than it used to be, much, much faster. but it still requires time and devoted attention.
Yes, because we are a body, and we are physically connected to the DNA strange from our mother line and our father line that has like massive traumas and stuff, like just going back in time. When we want to create change, for that to really change, we will implement our inner knowings along the way, because it's really in the implementation phase, like after we've gathered, like until we gather next month, that is when we will start implementing what we have learned, and what we and not learned from a headspace, learned as an ability to start alchemizing as we go, like start changing our ways of seeing, or ways of like judging, and seeing how we can change it. Changes as we go, and that can be done in 5 days. It's like, it's not possible. You will think that we have it, and then we will fall back, or we will learn something and then we will take it. But it's also the thing about what's going on now, like it's very modern to work on yourself, but that's also part of our like use consumerism, like just use and then throw away. And I've always been in longer investments, because the longer investments create a whole other foundation in me, and a whole other trust in my ability to grow through the things that I go through, and make a positive outcome. Positive meaning more energy, more vitality, more peace, more soul strength. So even when I regenerate and I like shut down, even then I can rest into that and just allow the new to be received from a very, very deep point, but still feel that there is life there. Beforehand, there was so much suffering, so much self-pity, that there was a feeling of having no life, like actually kind of dying when I went so deep. Because in my system, there was a trauma of wanting to commit suicide when I was 16. And because I made that trauma in my own system, that is where I always go to when in my point zero, to then choose life again. So if we have experienced traumas, or even created traumas in our own system, we need support when we go into those areas, because that is where self-pity lies. And when we are in self-pity, we are suffering. We're not just feeling the compression of life, creating new life. We are feeling all of the pain around it as well. Yeah, so we were actually able to feel the pressure without truly becoming the suffering in it, but seeing it in another way, seeing it as kind reminders or guides or pressure points that are there to get stimulated in another way, and then new life arrives. Or that's my experience, at least.
Absolutely, and that's why this is both of the programs we make, but now we talk about future leadership, is different from many leadership programs in the sense that it also takes care of the traumas, or we work with those as well. We work with what is holding us back from being here. We have to pay attention to why we're not here already. Well, it's because there's something that holds us back, and it's often very intelligent. Mm-hmm. It's often something that has a message for us. It's something that is our hidden potential. It's something that stuckness is very interesting. You know, it needs to be cared for. That stuckness, what happened there? What was it that made it stuck? And once we unfold it, it's a beautiful gift, and a lot of energy and vitality and newness is reborn from that. So it's all our hidden resources, our a sleeping potential that it can arise from the process with midwifing the soul's evolution into the next level, and into the new being, the new way of organizing, new way of living, new way of leading. So it's such a beautiful process that we shouldn't shy away from.
Mm.
But rather pay attention and talk about investment. What a good investment to release or to open up those hidden packages. Because otherwise we just continue to live with a system that is incomplete. We don't use all of our resources, but we need all our resources to solve the problems of the planet. So it's not really an option anymore to just shut down those resources, or at least we are very dependent on the people who choose to go forward and unfold their resources and elevate themselves to a new level where they can invite others to come along. The people who unpack those hidden resources are affecting lots and lots of people. I get so encouraged when I think of how many people are doing extraordinary work that really affects the rest. We saw with the COVID pandemic how we can affect each other. We can definitely affect each other with positive energy as well. So it's very important work that the leaders of the futures are doing.
And the reason there is positive energy is because there have been not so positive energy there. So when you walk around and have been doing a lot of alchemization in your system, you will, just by being there, that mirroring in other systems will awaken their spark. So that's why when we feel like, oh, there is something here, well, that's our soul speaking. There is a soul recognition. There is a soul meeting. And there is an ability to, it is an exchange, but it is more like an exchange and a communication in awakening these sparks so they become fires. And when there are not sparks, then there will be a fire, and that fire is a creative fire. It's like a cosmic fire, and it's a fire of clearness and direction. And that is when our soul is set on fire, and what we are here to do can no longer be stopped, because our direction is there. It's already created from the inside. But again, there are so many trials. So to get support and enough is important. And also to have someone who can say, okay, now you need a little of this, or maybe this could be an idea, and even if I didn't use any of the ideas, just having those different perspectives and to receive ability, like different solutions, was opening. It's like, okay, there are solutions, but I'm actually just, I need to just be in rest, but there are solutions. Oh, how nice.
It's opening up.
It's opening it up, even though it's not like, oh, then I should do what you are saying. It's like, oh, thank you for all of these perspectives. I can breathe and like allow my time to just take me where I need to go.
Yeah, that's also a very important difference between the old and the new leadership. In the old leadership, a mentor or guru tells you what to do.
Follow the leader. It's like
follow the leader.
The leader is you, and how can we speak to that leadership, and allow it to grow, and that's good. And that is what this program is about. It's not the old way. The program is like, and I think that sometimes we are afraid that we will get stuck in stuff like that. But I can wholeheartedly say that is not the thing going on. And for me, it was really also that because you've done this for so long time, it was a very nice structure to go into, because that structure made it easier for me to like then just go with all of the different layers that we were working through. And I knew that every time I arrived, I was in the exact condition that I needed to be in to receive what I needed to receive, even though I was like, oh, I can't do this. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm menstruating. Like everything was raw and honest, but that authenticity was also just, it's who I am. So I can't hide from that. But it was nice to also just have that in the room and have this structure for you to lean in. That was very nice for my system.
Yeah, the new leadership is about being authentic. So why hide that? And the new leadership is not about having a guru or a mentor tell you what to do, but someone who can help you open up to what you know that you need to do. So it's just a facilitator.
And come with perspectives.
Yeah. So it's more like facilitating that process where you can see, oh, that's my own truth. So and trust that truth. You are a different kind of a new leader, but I'm also a different kind of a new leadership mentor. So can you speak a little bit about how it is to how you see the difference? You know, you could choose from a lot of different programs, and you could have chosen a more entrepreneurial program, entrepreneurial coaching. You could have chosen a more healing program. You could have chosen a traditional. You would never have chosen a traditional leadership program, probably, but you had a choice between. There's so many programs out there. What was it that what do you think is different about this one? Just so people can get an idea. You know, I'm a female mentor. What is the difference? What do you see is unique here?
Yeah. Well, I can say that this now because I have been through it all. But in my case, I was to birth a school, like an energy school, and I knew that to do that, it needed both the holistic, not only thinking, but the holistic being, and the frames. So it had the program had both all of the soul nurturing stuff, soul nurturing tools and support and ways of seeing the world, and it had the structure that supported my structure in creating a structure. So it was this balance between these two elements that really supported me, because I was in the beginning, I was like I'm an energy worker. Why am I doing this? Like why am I saying yes? Why am I investing so much money in this? Like my sister was like,
leadership program.
Like I've been leading my life, my whole entire life. It's like, yeah, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you gotta get some more support and some more people around you, different people. And that was nice because it really stimulated my inner diversity, because there were these engineers, and there are energy workers as me, and having that all of that diversity going on was very, very healthy. Also, just for my ego, like this is right, this is old, this is new. No, you are in relation with yourself, and how are you communicating with those relations in you? And the more I just leaned into the program and leaned into the whole process, the more connected I just also started feeling, after feeling like really, really disconnected and in major survival mode. A new sense of connectedness and feeling that I belonged. Like nowhere I'm going, nowhere, it doesn't matter where I am, I belong. I belong here, I belong here, I belong here, because I'm arriving with my authenticity, I'm arriving as me, and I belong. I belong here, you know? And the more we bring ourselves, like our essence, to the world, the more home we will feel. And that is also what I know as all of the signals that I've had as a child, and all of the wisdom that's been blowing through my system is like, if you feel that you come from another planet, you probably do, but then start anchoring that planet to this planet. And that is through our bodies and our systems, and allowing us to be here, be seen, allow the energy to arrive, not hide away and wait for people to notice, because that will just make you cranky, and you will think that people are stuck with their own, like their heads in their butts. If you don't show yourself, we won't be able to see you. And it's very important that we can see you.
Yeah, that's also, I think, very important to, this is the point of this broadcast, is also to say, leaders come in so many different shapes. So you were in a program where there was corporate leaders, there was a CEO, there was vice presidents, there was engineers, and then there was a whole bunch of feminine wisdom people from other planets, from this planet, from creators, frontrunners, just new living systems. And to merge those two was very, very fruitful for both. And very fruitful. One of my main preoccupants is this balance between the masculine and the feminine, that we need to exchange the energies instead of keeping it separate or judging each other. So I think that played a very big role also in the exchange, in the fulfillment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that kind of diversity, I wouldn't have met that in other programs, but I met it here because Kirsten is a bridge, like she's building a bridge between worlds. So for me to get a total other like relationship with like my inner corporate man, but with such a loving heart, like seeing different aspects and meeting men in environments that I would never have met, and just seeing their hearts and them recognizing my heart in them and their heart in me, and having that connection, that was so strong and so healing. I remembered like just crying, like, I will miss you so much, Ulrich. Because one of the men who was there that I maybe felt the less connected with in the beginning. When our system started opening out, recognizing the fragment of our heart in each other, that was mind-blowing and so healing for all parts, I think.
For everybody, and also lots of ripple effects, because usually these groups are kept separate. So engineers here, corporate leaders here, energy workers, you're the woo-woo people, you go there. Therapist, okay, way over there. You know, we have these, we separate, we make silos in our society.
And in ourselves.
And in ourselves. And we project and we reject, and we, you know, it's like one big, yeah, it's a theater inside where we have all these, we have all these compartments and fragments, and they just don't talk together. And that's what we need to stop. So by putting together an eclectic group of people, we can stop that, because we can start to recognize and take back parts of ourselves. You have an inner CEO, you have an inner structure, you have an inner man, you have an inner captain, and we all have that. So let's take it back.
And you have an inner healer.
Yes.
Like in the other part, you have an inner healer, and you have an inner, like, and to just get that stimulated because we're in the room with our opposite aspect, you know, that's really, really powerful.
Yeah. So that's why I love to invite the corporate world to meet a world that they would otherwise never encounter. And to make that exchange, and it's really beautiful to see how that can happen. You talked about being with someone who has experienced. What has that meant for you? Because I know that there's many young people, and I see that with great pleasure, like yourself, who come with the latest upgrades. And there are many young people who make programs, or younger people, or that's one section that makes leadership programs. Then there's all the established institutions in SEAD, and all the established business schools make leadership programs. And then there's probably more. There's also the business schools, the universities. But what do you see as someone who has life experience? What has that meant for you to be with someone who has a diverse life experience?
Like the number one actually was the amount of suffering that you've been through with your son, the loss of your son. Because I was like, if she could get up and live on from that, I can get out of bed when feeling a bit self-pity. So there was actually something about knowing that someone had been able, with heart power, willpower, wanting life, choosing life, to get on and get going, that was very, very strengthening in character. So I actually think that has been a major, because sometimes I just felt so great, like big gratitude for the suffering you have went through. That is the ultimate suffering you can go through as a human being, actually, is losing a child. And continuously like doing this work. That was really, really, really inspiring as a human being. And it pushed to my unstoppableness. It really stimulated my unstoppableness. And that is what we need. Like when I started, I was like, we need us to be unstoppable, because all the other thing, it's like a massive train just going into this big, like, and we need to become unstoppable, and not from like a forceful thing, but in our dedication to the life that we are and the life that is. And choosing that, and not like stray away or say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or even though like doing it tomorrow can also allow the today to rest, and that's fine, but not postpone out of fear, but take charge of the energy and go with the flow that is always there.
It's just interesting for you to hear that what are the options out there. So there's many options to check into very many different things, and you are an energy master and a master for those people who feel they don't belong here. You're a master at bringing together the world. You're also a bridge builder, but it's between planets and cosmic systems.
Yeah.
And that leads me to a point that I also think is one of the points that I really appreciate about these programs. It's the networking aspect, because I love how we are not separate. We live in a big web, and if we can connect the dots and connect people in that web, we can actually make magic happen, and we can make it happen much faster than if we are on our own. Actually, I do not believe that any of us can make it on our own anymore. I believe we have to go back to what made us survive in the first place, which was communities, which was tribes, which was getting together and helping each other. I don't think this era of individualism is going to last very long, because it's not sustainable. So we need to help each other and to connect and to start supporting each other. So I'd like you to speak about, you've also experienced at least some aspects of what can come out of getting into a network where there is an emphasis on the networking aspects, you know, connecting, you maybe you should meet this, or maybe you can do this, or just meeting people who, the corporate people who saw, wait, well, maybe you can help us with this, that, and the other. So can you speak a little bit about what that has meant for you?
Yeah, well, just in our group, because there was like a company, and at some point they needed some support, because now they know me, so they know that it's not woo-woo, and what I do is actually quite powerful. It's invisible, but it's powerful. So I got hired to like support connecting, because I felt that the structure of their building, they work different places, and there was like this connection between the different departments. And then I spoke with the one of the
leaders
there, and we just started, and I just showed her like, okay, so what we'll do, we'll start connecting. And I asked her, what do you feel here, what do you feel there? So she can also feel like where there was like error, like flat energy, and where there was high energy, and how we could allow the departments to communicate more. And that was so fun. It was just like having like a vision board, writing them down on a piece of paper, and then going through all of the areas with our bodies. And I could feel, oh, here's root, so let's connect, and like get the where they worked up tuned up to the higher frequencies, or like a more open energy resource, because then we will receive all of our brilliant intuitive ways of communicating and building our business. And the only reason why she hired me to that assignment was because she has seen what I can do, and we were in relation we've been in relation with each other for like these 9 months. And that's also very, very healthy for me to see that the from a bigger scale, like give me buildings, give me cities, and so we can weave instead of, because I've been doing it in the body with individual people for so many years, like literally 12 years now, and I'm like 32, and like allowing me to also feel that it can be done on bigger grids, which I know because I do it in the nighttime, but to be then hired to do it in an assignment in a physical building, that was something else.
But it shows an example of if you didn't come to a setting like this, nobody would have known that you have that ability.
And I wouldn't know it on like a human flesh level.
Yes.
I would have known it as an idea, but not like as
an
experience. And that is different. That is the embodied experience.
Yeah. So I would say when people enter these programs, it's also an opportunity to show who you are. And, in 9 months, we get to know each other quite well because we meet every month and we meet online and we do a lot of things together. So we really get to know each other, and it's very intimate because we work from the inside out. So it's not like a superficial, okay, what do you do? It's who are you? So it's also,
and what are you here for?
What are you here for? What's your call and what's your vocation? We work a lot of this with the soul path, with the soul, your vocation, your legacy. What are you here to contribute? So once you know that, once you enter the program, you get to present that to people who would otherwise never know you, and that can lead to a lot of different things. I mean, you also experienced other, some people, you got some clients from it. You got some other assignments because I got to know what you can do. So now I can recommend you. And so that's also a benefit of stepping into a program. That's why I say this investment can come back manifold if you use the opportunity, if you show up, and if you deliver, and if you allow yourself to take what you can get.
And also be honest with yourself. So if there's something you lack or you're missing, you can always say to Kirsten. I was like, or you're even asking, is there something you need or something? And just to have that reflection, and then to feel, okay, I actually have this need, or I would maybe like this, and just slowly allow yourself to be heard. That is also like taking your inner world seriously, and it creates a solid foundation in yourself. And that is because you're in a safe container, that you allow yourself to be also more honest about your needs and your wants in a healthy way. Because when you are feeling good, you are creating good. You are an extender of that goodness in your family and in your business and in your inner environment. So yeah.
So it's about allowing yourself to give yourself what you actually need
to thrive.
Yeah. Not only to survive and not be held back by my survival anxiety, will I ever survive, but actually allow yourself to thrive. We've been talking for a long time, so maybe do you have anything to say to end this broadcast? If you have any final comments, like so obviously some people have been watching, we can see that, and thank you so much for that. So maybe it's a little bit a rhetorical question to ask if you would recommend this program, but maybe we can make a bit of a wrap up about how's it been for you. I think I get to think of what you said when we ended, and it was very touched by it, because you said I'm now in a new place. Yeah, can you remember that?
The thing that I feel that you're referring to is that it really, really became very, very clear to me that, like, I think that some in the group were saying that has been so nice to see how much I have moved, how much that I have changed from those 9 months. And I said that all of that would not have happened without you. Like, you were what I needed to create those changes. And that is the difference of, like, when we go into deep relation with our whatever we're saying yes to and we commit to it, that is relationship healing from deep within ourselves, because it is this sense of belonging and feeling supported and loved. And yeah, I couldn't have done it without it. Like, it was done because of that field at that particular time in my life and my dedication to it.
So that's such a beautiful thing. And I met you the other day and you said, now I can do anything because now I am like solid in my new vibration, in my new ability to take care of myself and allow to receive and give and so on. So I was very touched about that. And also, you know, the program also gave me an opportunity to meet people like you, Diane, which I've been very, very happy about. And we're actually going to create partnerships around the, not least the next programs and the programs we do for CEOs. So that we can have powerful healing for those as well. So it's a beautiful way to get to know each other. So for now, I'm just very happy to see that you have been enjoying this. I can see that from the comments. We're broadcasting this live and we're replaying it later. So thank you so much for your interest. And thank you so much, Diane, for showing up and telling about your experience. And if you want to follow Diane, I can strongly recommend that. She has a divine voice. So you can go into divinediane.com and you can also follow Diane on the social media. She has this extraordinary music that she produces, her extraordinary voice healing of us humans, our planet. So so you can just follow Diane. I really recommend that. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day. And don't forget to take leadership for a bright future at home, at work, and in the world.